What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to episode 88 of the Silver and Gold podcast. I'm Josh,
And I'm Mike.
and today, we're kind of on opposite ends of the spectrum. I am absolutely elated about the 49ers and their performance on Sunday night, and Mike is over here absolutely mortified by the Raiders right now, and they make him sick. So I guess we can just kind of uh, put Mike on the back burner right now as he, you know, kind of contemplates whether or not he wants to pursue his fandom for the Raiders. And we can talk about the 49ers. Maybe we can convince him to hop over. But, Mike, did you get a chance to watch the Sunday night game?
Yeah, I watched probably most of it.
What'd you think?
Um, I think that I've seen a few people mention that Christian McCaffrey looks old. He does not look old. He looks like he's still almost in his prime. Like that was a prime McCaffrey showing. That was my biggest takeaway. Probably the next biggest takeaway is that I think something you and I talked about or texted about is that Robert Sala is a massive difference maker for this team. Um, and I guess the third biggest takeaway for me, not in any particular order, but just from the eyes perspective, is that this is starting to seem like a year, finally, I guess, where the Niners are overcoming just insane amounts of injuries and still finding ways to win and at times arguably look dominant. It never really felt from a non-Niners fan. I'm sure from a Niners fan's perspective, it was like, oh my God, please just figure it out. And probably hectic. But from my perspective, most of this game, it was like, I don't know if the Falcons have a chance. Like the Niners just seem to kind of have the upper hand for the most part in this game. Um, there were moments where it was a little close or whatnot, but I don't know. Just you would think without Fred Warner, without Nick Bosa, you have no. I mean, who was your best receiver in this game? I guess Pierce or Juwan Jennings, not named, Kittle, who I don't think even had a catch in this game.
No.
Um,
The
but
best
no Ayuk,
receiver was
no
Christian
Pearsall.
McCaffrey.
It was McCaffrey. It was just McCaffrey.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I just this team should get healthier. You're gonna eventually get Pearsall back pretty soon. I don't know what the hell's gonna happen with Ayuk, but it should only get better. Purdy should come back in the next probably 2 or so weeks. So yeah, I mean, they're doing good.
Yeah, you mentioned that this team is going to get healthier. And my thing about that is yes, they should get healthier with the guys who are, dealing with soft tissue injuries, but this team is not going to be at its best, I would say, later on in the season because they're not going to get Fred or Nick Bosa back, you know.
Yeah.
But in this game, they did fare very well. The 49ers beat the Falcons on Sunday night, 20-10. And I did want to provide an update as I've been doing the past several weeks of just kind of how they did with what I outlined were my keys to the game. So with key number one, it was to neutralize Bijan Robinson. And the 49ers did a great job of limiting Bijan to less than 100 yards. He had 14 carries for 40 yards, which is like 2.9 yards per carry, like pretty inefficient. And he had 6 catches for 52 yards and a receiving touchdown. Key number two I had was matching up Lenore with London. And really, I couldn't tell who covered Drake London for most of the game, but I do know that he was limited to 4 catches for 42 yards, which was efficient, but they weren't able to keep feeding him. And third, I had be prepared to face a constant rushing attack. And the 49ers were prepared and did so well that the Falcons, it essentially forced the Falcons to get away from the run game, also because they were playing from behind and they were down 10 points late in the game. They had just 20 rushing attempts, 14 with Bijan, 4 with Tyler Algier, 2 with Michael Penix. So I'm pretty sure those were scrambled, not designed. Um, and my fourth key to this game was just make sure that Kittle is 100% before activating him from IR. And Kittle only played 81% of the 49ers snaps on Sunday, but he seemed to really improve the 49ers run game immediately. And Christian McCaffrey was finally able to rush effectively. So even though Kittle didn't have he didn't have any catches on the 2 targets that he had, I still think that just having the run game improve was already a good addition. And so here's who stood out in the game to me. Unless Mike, you have any thoughts about what I just said.
No, everything's good.
Here's who stood out to me. Christian McCaffrey. He had 24 carries for 129 yards and 2 rushing touchdowns. In one of those touchdowns, the 49ers got bailed out on what I think was either Connor Colby or Matt Hennessy. They pulled McCaffrey into the end zone, which is a penalty, and really the refs they missed it. So Niners got lucky on that one. And in the receiving game, McCaffrey had 7 catches for 72 yards, which was very good. Like I said, when they've gotten McCaffrey involved in the passing game, it's been way more efficient than the run game. But it's good that there was a little bit of balance. There was still a lot more touches than I would want to McCaffrey. But at this point, McCaffrey is just the entire offense, right? There was no other notable receiver, in my opinion. Like there was, I think, a ball that was thrown to Jennings that bounced off his hands and, it got picked off. But yeah. And then another thing that stood out to me was Jake Brendel / Matt Hennessy. And essentially, Brendel was out. He was out for the game with a hamstring injury, and Matt Hennessy played in his place. And I just find it interesting that the 49ers were able to run the ball well in this game, considering Jake Brendel's absence. I always felt like they could upgrade from him, and that'll just kind of be one thing to see, because anytime that you change a starting center, there's going to be an adjustment, not just in the run game, but another thing to look for going forward is that if Matt Hennessy has to play for more time or an extended period of time, I think you have to keep an eye on whether or not he's going to be able to consistently get the ball to Mac Jones. I know the thing with backup centers is we saw it the other day. Mike, did you see the Vikings game, or did you see that play in the Vikings-Eagles game where the center snapped the ball way over Carson Wentz's head, and it was like a sack for 20 yards? You're muted.
Unfortunately, I was watching some of the dog shit game in the 10 a.m. slot.
Oh, yeah, we'll get to that.
Yeah.
So I think that's something to look for, just kind of the exchange between center and quarterback. It didn't play a factor in this game, but I think especially having, when you pair the 49ers having their quarterbacks in and out of the lineup and, having a change of center, it's just something I can foresee. But for all I know, I'm an idiot, and it will never, ever be an issue. Next player is Tatum Bethune. He had 4 solo tackles and 6 assists, and the defense looked really good with Bethune as the middle linebacker. So I think that the fact that there's the continuity of 49er linebackers. I know I mentioned a list of linebackers that the 49ers have, been able to develop and draft in over the past several years. I forgot to mention Azeez Al-Shaair. He was also another great linebacker. So I think that Tatum Bethune, he looks really good. I think that every time I've seen him play, he's looked pretty good. We'll see if he can keep it up. It's definitely going to be an adjustment in the coverage, when the 49ers are playing coverage, because nobody's going to be as good as Fred Warner, and the 49ers are going to play more opponents down the line who can probably hurt them in the passing attack. Next player I wanted to mention is Bryce Huff. I think that Bryce Huff looked really good and really fast off the edge. Unfortunately, he now has a hamstring injury and he is set to miss some weeks. I'm not exactly sure what the 49ers do, but their training staff needs to make some changes and they need to be held accountable for all the soft tissue injuries that this team suffers. It's one thing to have all these freak injuries, like, let's just say Fred Warner's ankle or Ricky Pearsall's knee, but it's another thing, for guys to just be missing time because they pull or tear a muscle so frequently. It's, I don't know, Mike. What do you think about that?
Sorry, explain it again.
What do you think just kind of about the soft tissue injuries that the 49ers just constantly experience?
I mean, it's just, I feel like a couple weeks ago I said, like, it is it a training staff issue? Is it just a bad luck issue? Is it a head coaching, like, methods of, pre-game stretches issue, which I'd assume is a training staff? Like, I just come back to the training staff. That's just my assumption, is like it has to be them and their methods, um, or it's just really bad luck. I don't know. But I think, every here and there can be a fluke, but having it be so often, like, it wouldn't shock either of us if the NFL or PFF or whoever came out with a statistic that said, yeah, the Niners have the most, soft tissue injuries the last 3 seasons, 5 seasons. I'd be like, yeah, no
Yeah,
shit.
makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. And in that event, even if they're bottom 5 to 10, something's wrong.
Yeah. And I think, like, all right, there is a combination of bad luck, I will say. Like Fred Warner's injury, bad luck. Nick Bosa's injury, bad luck. Brock Purdy's injury, bad luck. But all these other guys who are just in and out of the lineup because, they tweaked their hamstring. Uh, there's just countless. We hear it every single week, and then Bryce Huff is just the next guy on the list. So overall, I think that this was a very impressive win for the 49ers because the defense didn't miss a beat without another missing superstar, and they made Michael Penix Jr. look awful late in the game. The offense, or really I should say CMC, did enough to win this game considering that the defense played so well. And then I did want to mention, again, John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan. What an offseason that they had. They, bringing back Robert Saleh, he's got the defense playing at a high level. Bringing in Mac Jones. I don't know how the 49ers would be doing this season if they didn't have Mac Jones. Like, if we had to see Adrian Martinez? The third string quarterback right now, would they be winning these close games? I don't think so. But then again, I haven't seen Adrian Martinez. And then this isn't an off-season move, but Eddie Pinheiro, bringing him in and finally getting rid of Jake Moody, which they should have done a while ago. But
I'm glad. What? So sorry. That was the fourth thing that I have noticed when we first started the pod. The difference in this team between Jake Moody, shanking potential game winners, or a second quarter, 2 field goal misses or extra point, and you guys lose by 2 points or something. That's the difference. And I don't think Pinheiro has missed a field goal, if I'm not mistaken.
No, he missed a PAT.
Right,
like
but
the first kick.
But I'm talking. Yeah, but field goals, he's been 100%, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
I want to say, unless I'm wrong about the kicker, I want to say like 2 or 3 years ago, he became the most accurate kicker in NFL history over Justin Tucker for a period of time. And then it must have went a little south, and obviously he didn't last with, I think it was the Panthers at the time.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say Pinheiro started on the Raiders. I'm fairly positive of that. Like, if you look on his history on Sleeper, it doesn't show it. It's probably because he went to multiple teams. But I'm sure on one of those websites it'll show it. because I want to say they had him just as a camp body for Janikowski at the end of his career, and he was out there kicking like 70 yarders in practice, and you could see like this dude has fresh legs and all that. And obviously, he's made a career. Point being, though,
He was on the Oakland Raiders in 2018.
yeah, that was his rookie season, if I'm not mistaken. Um, if you look at him from a fantasy perspective, like I was so close to getting him, but I think our friend Renee got him.
Yeah, I was close to getting him too, and I would have beat Renee if I did.
Yeah, he's destroying in fantasy from a kicking perspective. Like he's been insane.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Real quick, I do see the comments. I just want to give a quick shout out to 49er Media. We'll get to the comments in a second. And then I see my friend Benji. He said the monkey clapping. That's an inside joke from a card game that we play. But the Pinheiro move and Bryce Huff, I think like he's still, I mean, he's injured now, but still that's another great addition that they made this offseason. And really the draft that they had, this is a very young football team. I think that they're playing at a very high level considering how young they are, in terms of the defense especially.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to say, this is currently the most impressive season that I can remember from John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan. I think I'm more impressed than I was in 2023 because in 2023 I felt like we were supposed to win every single game. And this year I feel like we're supposed to lose every single game, but we just keep winning. And so this season might even be more impressive than 2019. So, you know, I I just kind of applaud them, and I think that Jed York deserves a lot of credit for sticking with John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan. I know me personally, as a fan, I can get emotional sometimes, and I do have my gripes about Kyle Shanahan, but I don't have many complaints about him this season because I think he's doing a great job. And if I'm going to be critical of him, when I am critical of him, I also want to praise him when he deserves praise. You know? So that's all I really had to say about the 49ers versus Falcons. I think we can move on to the 49ers versus Texans predictions. The 49ers will now be facing the Houston Texans and their former defensive coordinator, D'Amico Ryans, on Sunday morning on the road. Here are my keys to the game. I think that the 49ers, number one, they need to continue to find ways to generate pressure. In the absence of Bryce Huff and Nick Bosa, the 49ers are going to need guys like Mykel Williams to make their presence felt against this bad offensive line. Like the Texans tonight, they're currently playing the Seahawks right now. They don't look good. And key number two is going to be to limit Nico Collins. I think that Nico Collins is the Texans' most dynamic weapon, and they actually have a pretty one-dimensional offense because of how bad their offensive line is. I like Woody Marks, but the run game should be pretty easy to stop. You know, if they kind of split between Woody Marks and Nick Chubb, even though Woody Marks has got more juice. It's nothing flashy, nothing special. The game plan, I think, should be to try and shut down Nico Collins and just kind of work from there. And my final key is going to be to protect the quarterback. So I think that this Texans' strength, obviously, is its defense. So I think the 49ers, if they can keep Mac Jones clean all game, he has a better chance to protect the football. And the 49ers should be able to go in and, come out of this with a victory. My prediction is I feel pretty confident in the 49ers taking this game. I've only been correct in one prediction so far this year for the Niners specifically, but I have a good feeling about Sunday, so give me the Niners. Mike, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm also picking the Niners. The Texans, as we speak, are losing 27-12 to the Seahawks on this late Monday night football game. They still have 8:55 left in the fourth quarter. It's 10 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't care for these doubleheaders. I think when I was younger, I would have
Yeah.
loved them, but it makes me not even want to really watch.
Yeah,
Um,
and especially 7 p.m. is way too late. But I would care
yeah, I
about
mean,
the double headers if they were good. But if you're gonna have a primetime game, focus on having one good game that we just want to watch.
yeah, I mean, in theory, like the Seahawks are 4-2, and the Texans are defending AFC South champ. Like in theory, it's a good game when they make the schedule, but you know things always change. In theory, the Raiders versus Chiefs is a good game until it isn't.
Mm-hmm.
So you know, uh, I just think your I mean, maybe it's more primetime games, so it works, but I don't know. I don't really care for it.
Yeah, 49er media says, well, time to trade for some edge rushers because Bryce Huff is out for a few weeks with a hamstring injury. Hopefully, he. I just want him to fully recover and it not to linger, but uh, I am hoping that he can. How do you say? He can make a speedy recovery. But the most important thing is just going to be for him to just not rush back, but also come back swiftly. I don't know if that makes sense, but uh, health is the most important thing. 49er media said, got to call the Jets and Dolphins. Yeah, I mean, they should theoretically be sellers, especially. I don't know if the Dolphins are going to be sellers. Like, I would have thought that they would have fired Mike McDaniel by now. The Jets, maybe because it's a brand new coach who came in. And if the Jets are going to be sellers, I think it's going to come from ownership. I don't think Mike McDaniel is going to want to sell players unless he already knows he's going to get fired and then he can be on board with it. But yeah. 49er Media also says, I never wish injuries for a player, but Brendel getting hurt might be the best thing to happen. Um, we will have to see since it's only been one game. Yeah, I I completely agree. I have wanted to see another center, and I just don't think that highly of Jake Brendel. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Jake Brendel. You might be a nice guy, but I see too many lowlights, and I don't know. Can we see what Matt Hennessy can provide? Like I'm all for it. Um, I don't get what is in the Santa Clara water. Need to sage the stadium or something. Yeah, it's they apparently building a field right next to Great America is just bad juju. I wanted Eddie at the start of the offseason. Would have been nice to get him then, but at least we have him now. Yeah. And we won week one, which was the only game that Jake Moody played, and we didn't lose a game because of Jake Moody. They made the switch. Eddie is in now. Who knows? Maybe if we would have gotten Eddie Pinheiro at the beginning of training camp or whenever, maybe he isn't as motivated as he is or isn't as focused as he is. You never know. I think the fact that he got to wait and choose his destination maybe provided him a little level of comfort and or maybe a little fire under him that he didn't get picked up in the offseason. You don't really know what a player's motivations are because you don't know them personally. But yeah, like you said, he's here now. And he's not with the Raiders anymore. And he's definitely not with the Oakland Raiders, that's for sure.
Yeah. One note for the Niners and Texans game, just kind of developing news right now. I guess Nico Collins is getting checked out in this game for a concussion. So if that holds to where he has a concussion, he may not play next week against the Niners. And just to add on to your key to uh, how would you contain Nico Collins, I would say the more important. I mean, Nico Collins is big because he's a big deep threat, and
Mm-hmm.
otherwise, like they have Christian Kirk coming off of a pretty semi long term injury, and a rookie, opposite them at receiver. Uh, I would say most importantly would be which this might be hard to do with all the injuries, but to put pressure on C.J. Stroud. It seems like with how bad their offensive line is, if you put pressure on him, they don't typically do that good offensively, even with Nico Collins.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just kind of I don't think very highly of the Texans or CJ Stroud right now.
Yeah, I think their offensive line is trash.
Yeah.
That's very important.
Why would they get rid of Laramie Tunsil? I don't get it.
Yeah, I
It
don't
was
know. I
already
mean,
a
maybe
bad
they're trying
offensive
to.
line.
Yeah, that might be part of it. Just try to recoup some draft picks from a trade that didn't really get them anywhere. I guess.
Some draft picks so
I don't
that
know.
way, I mean, it's like the Family Guy. It's like the Family Guy thing where, you know, all right, do you want the boat or do you want the mystery box? Lois, this mystery box could be anything. It could even be a boat.
Yeah, but I mean, if Larry Matunzel is heading down towards the end of his career, kind of similar to like, not saying this in the most negative way, but like Trent
Trent
Williams, like
Williams.
we don't expect him to last more than what, a season after this. He's most likely going to retire after this year, if I had to guess. Who knows? But if you could get a second round pick for him right now, would you take it?
A second? It's a good question. Yeah, I would take it.
I would take it. I mean, obviously I'm a Raider fan. I'd take anything for veteran players right now, but yeah, I think you have a better shot at getting an impact player for 10 years than, him doing a huge difference on your team. Obviously, I mean, Trent Williams is a Hall of Famer, but, you know, you can probably find somebody and scheme around him and put a tight end next to him and have him chip most plays.
Yeah. Yeah, the 49ers have kind of been able to do that with their right tackle, but
Yeah.
yeah, I think if you would have asked me this like a couple years ago, I would say no.
Yeah, oh, for sure. 2 years ago? Fuck no.
Yeah. But just
Yeah.
kind of the fact that Trent's kind of at the end and this team is like kind of in a mini reset,
Yeah.
but playing at a very high level.
Yeah. I'll
Uh,
also say, uh, for the Texans' point of view, I think it's also an offensive scheme change, perhaps, or maybe an offensive line scheme change that they went through because they did change offensive coordinators, um, or in the most basic sense, just they wanted to, for lack of a better term, revamp their offensive line. Like, yes, he's a great offensive lineman, but maybe they just figured, well, we're going to change it all up anyways. Let's just get some draft picks in here.
mhm. Yeah, so I really don't have much else to say about the Niners. I think that we can move on to your favorite topic of the day. Are you ready, Mike, to talk
Yeah,
about
bring it.
the Raiders versus Chiefs?
Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah, the Raiders got spanked, Mike. It was an ugly loss. What was it, 31 to nothing?
Yeah.
There's not really much to say about this, uh, just about it, period, anymore. The Raiders just suck. I'm sorry, they just
Hmm.
suck. They're one of the worst teams in the league. Um, is there anything that you want to say that you want to say about the game in particular?
I mean, the first thing that really annoyed me, like I expected a loss, and I was honestly feeling mixed emotions because I did have Rasheed Rice in fantasy, and I wanted to see signs of life, and I got more than, you know, I was even hoping for in that sense.
Yeah.
Um, you could argue he was supposed to have 3 touchdowns in this game, but they got a stupid penalty on the second one, potential second one.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so the first thing that annoyed me in this game was when I saw Chris Jones absolutely manhandle Jackson Powers Johnson on a play. Absolutely manhandled him into a sack. I believe it was a third down sack. I could be wrong though, but he got just overpowered straight into Geno Smith. Um, and I want to say after that drive, Jackson Powers Johnson was benched. I could be wrong, and it might not have been that exact drive, but at some point in this game, John Powers Jackson Powers Johnson was benched, and he did not come back into the game. Um, and it's frustrating because it's a different regime. I mean, kind of similar to like the Laramie Tunsil talk we just had of like, new coaching staff, new offense comes in, and maybe they want to, apparently this guy fits better type of deal, right? Now, in that case, it would be smart to trade away a player for a good pick. The difference between Laramie Tunsil and Jackson Powers Johnson is that Laramie Tunsil is essentially a perennial Pro Bowler, and Jackson Powers Johnson has not been developed really in his career because he went through one season of bullshit last year as a rookie, switching between guard and center. And then this whole offseason and 6 weeks of a season, 7 weeks of a season of bullshit, where he's just being told, no, you're not our center anymore. You're going to play guard and you're going to like it. Or maybe you're not going to like it, but who gives a fuck, essentially. Um, and he's not doing that good. Probably because our offensive line coach sucks. But that's just my opinion. I think most Raider fans would agree with my opinion that our offensive line coach, who is Pete Carroll's son, sucks. Um, and I think most Raider fans, at least that kind of have a pulse of what's going on relative to previous draft picks, previous seasons draft picks, and players on the roster, personnel. The Raider fans that have a pulse on that are rooting heavily for last year's second round pick Jackson Powers Johnson. So when I see that we're losing, I don't know, 28-0 in a game that no longer fucking matters. I think the rest of the season no longer fucking matters as far as winning games. I think I was saying a week or two ago that, Pete Carroll has a year and a half of a leash for me. I don't know what Mark Davis's leash is. I don't know what Tom Brady's leash is. I don't know what I'd say those are the two guys that matter most as far as decision making. I don't know how long their leash is. I guess the other people would be Raider fans, right? I'm sure there are Raider fans that are already saying we need to fire Pete Carroll. I'm sure there are. I'm not one of them, but every week it becomes more and more concerning, right?
Yeah,
But I'm not gonna.
I was literally gonna ask you, if you kind of still felt like you wanted to give Pete Carroll another year, and or
Yeah,
at least half a year.
right. I mean, I was contemplating it for a little bit during the game, but I just don't think I won't know you know, if that will resolve things until a year from now. You
Yeah,
know, I just won't know because if we bring in some other coach who has way less experience, um, just the likelihood that some unexperienced coach, not to say that it has to be an unexperienced guy, but just who is more experienced than Pete Carroll out there, not named Bill Belichick, and we can see how that's going at UNC. We're not going for Bill Belichick. No chance. That would be a joke. Um, Nobody has experience like Pete Carroll. Point being, um,
you guys could get
in
Robert Sala.
building. He doesn't have the experience of Pete Carroll, um, and his tenure with the Jets was kind of a joke. No offense to him, he's a great defensive coordinator. I think that's the tough thing is if I'm comparing to Pete Carroll, every candidate is not as good, right? Unless Andy Reid gets fired tomorrow. Like, there's not many candidates out there that are as impressive as Pete Carroll.
How about Steve
Um,
Spagnuolo? He wouldn't go to the Raiders, but
Most likely wouldn't. I mean, honest to God, what coach really with a, you know, what coach with any real say in their negotiations in the sense of like they are well respected and they are so well respected and so sought after as a head coaching candidate. Like, let's just say Mike Vrabel, or this is
Ben
where I really wanted to go
Johnson.
with the conversation, Ben Johnson. Those are the two guys that automatically, I mean, day one of the offseason, I was saying those are the top two candidates. I said it from the jump. And funny enough, look at them. They're like both 4-2 right now, if not 5-1 or whatever the Patriots are. But the Patriots, I believe, are in first place in their division, and the Bears have a winning record for the first time in what feels like 15 years. It's not true, but um, that's coaching. That's implementing, I guess, successful game plans and uh, schemes.
I, f-
Which
I
is funny
fucking
to say
got it, dude.
because, well, it's just funny to say because Josh McDaniels is a part of that Patriots, you know, brain trust right now. But I just think that's a testament, really, to um, the Patriots head coach.
Yeah. Um, Real quick, it's just kind of funny the way the NFL works because week one, the Raiders did beat that Patriots team who was in first place in their division. The Raiders do
Yeah.
play in a fucking really tough division. But I've got it. You know how Tyler has been screaming for Jim Harbaugh to get fired?
Right.
So check this out. Jim Harbaugh gets fired. Pete Carroll gets fired. Jim Harbaugh hates Pete Carroll. You know what? Harbaugh joins the dark side. He says, you know what? I just got fired from the Chargers. I can give a big middle finger to them and to Pete Carroll at the same time. And then you just cue the Darth Vader, the Imperial March music as he puts on the silver and black.
So that's perfect for one
Right?
thing. Okay.
That's
That is
perfect.
perfect. It's also, I mean, this is another thing that I was going to get into with Pete Carroll. I'll come back to it. Just like remind me of the Jim Harbaugh aspect. I'll come back to it.
The Chargers are not going to fire Harbaugh, but no
I don't
matter,
I don't think they are.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I'll just allude to it now, I guess. Just the thing with Harbaugh, and I think part of the reason why Tyler doesn't really care for him right now is like he's so old school. Um, and I mean, it's funny because offensively they're actually becoming a very pass first team with Herbert, which is smart. But I don't know. I guess there's a lot of issues, mostly with being one of those coaches who apparently just over trusts his guys, and one of those guys being Bozeman, the center, I guess. And obviously his offensive coordinator, whose name I'm forgetting right now.
no. So it stems from him just trusting Greg Roman because Bozeman was a lineman on the Ravens, and I
Hmm,
think that Greg Roman just really likes Bozeman.
yeah, yeah. So he's over trusting of his offensive coordinator, who he's worked with for so long. Um, and that's irking Tyler because I think every Charger fan with eyes realizes that they have the worst center in football, essentially. Um, and they're just annoyed and over it, right?
Yeah.
Um, and of course they're getting unfortunate injuries, which isn't helping them. But some teams prevail, some teams don't, apparently. Uh, so I'll say this: did I contemplate the idea of Pete Carroll getting fired at the end of the season? Absolutely. Can I see it happening? Absolutely. Like, if this was so terribly against the plan of, like, wow, we brought in Pete to, like, kind of win, and he was promising, like, we're going to go out there and compete now, we're going to win now, like, we got this Geno Smith guy, we're going to do it, you know, and then it goes the way that it goes. Um, I don't know. All I know is there has to be at least one fall guy. That's how it always was with Gruden. I don't know if that's a Mark Davis thing, but I think if your season is this unsuccessful, this much of a failure, somebody has to fall. And my mind first goes towards three people. Can you
Can I
guess them?
guess?
Yeah.
Okay. So Chip Kelly is one of them.
Yep.
Uh, the offensive line coach,
Yep.
and the third fall guy, Geno Smith.
Correct. Those are the three guys that need to be out of this building at the end of the season, if not by the end of the season. The problem is one of those guys is the head coach's son. So I don't know where that's going to go. In my opinion, the best place for that to go is you just struggle with that. I mean, actually, the offensive line has admittedly gotten a bit better. Although this week, I think this week was a play calling problem. I think it was a play calling problem and quarterback problem and Chiefs problem.
It is a Chiefs problem. It's so hard to run against the Chiefs.
Yeah. But it's also hard to run against the Chiefs when you don't run the ball at all. Right? And then you just don't convert any third downs. Janty had like 3 carries at halftime. It was just insane, especially as a GNT manager who was trying to win his fantasy matchup, which thankfully I did. I needed that looking in the next couple weeks.
You overcame Jamar Chase going off on Thursday
and
night,
Devontae
and
Adams.
then Devontae Adams. I thought Joey had that in the bag. I was like, damn, Joey just freaking smoked Mike out of the water. And then as I'm looking and thinking that, I'm getting smoked out of the water. Dude, Lorenzo's team is crazy.
Yeah, him being able to get Judkins off waivers or free agency was insane.
We're not
but
we're not gonna get another name on that trophy this year, dude. It's not gonna happen. Right. It's not gonna.
I mean,
happen.
the only hope right now is Joey, unless Tyler's team picks it up with Jonathan Taylor and CeeDee Lamb. Ken Walker, yeah, but CeeDee Lamb for sure. What's up, Papa J? But back to Pete Carroll. Yeah, I think this season has to have some fall guys. I think paying Chip Kelly $6 million a year. I don't know how coaching deals go. I feel like they're kind of guaranteed.
They are.
So Mark Davis has to eat some money if they fire him. And again, I mean, firing Brennan Carroll seems very harsh for his dad to do, right? Which is where my mind goes is this dude was never an offensive line coach in the NFL ever before. He should be demoted to assistant offensive line coach. Offensive line coach, I don't know how I said that, but and hire an actual offensive line coach who is a good pairing with a new offensive coordinator that you hire this offseason. Hire the offensive coordinator who runs a specific scheme, and then hire the offensive line coach who matches that well, and then you get your quarterback, hopefully in the draft. But also you need a free agent. You need a veteran.
I know who it should be.
Coordinator?
Yes.
Okay.
I know the solution right now for the Raiders, and I think it can make them, I think, a playoff team as early as next year if it all goes well.
Okay.
Might be a little ambitious, but they will certainly be better next year.
Yeah.
Do you want to guess who I'm thinking?
Is he currently in the NFL?
Yes.
Like he's coaching for a team.
Yes.
Oh, is it Mike McDaniel?
It's Mike McDaniel.
Yeah, we talked about this about. Yeah.
You get Mike McDaniel as the offensive coordinator because he's going to get fired from the Dolphins, and just because he's not a great head coach doesn't mean that he wouldn't be a good offensive coordinator.
I think he would probably be the reverse Robert Saleh.
Yeah.
Like instead of defense, offense,
Yeah. So Mike McDaniel comes in. They've already got Genty. Think about what Mike McDaniel could do in a Shanahan running scheme with Ashton Genty, and you pair that with, if the Raiders really suck this year, you get a top draft pick and possibly draft a quarterback next year. One of the top quarterbacks in college next year. So you're talking about a brand new offensive scheme, a brand new quarterback. Maybe Geno starts the season, right? Like maybe Mike McDaniel feels like, oh, I can still do something with Geno as we bring this quarterback along. But you're looking at, the Giants just had Russell Wilson. They replaced him with Jackson Dart, and Dart looks awesome.
Yeah, that was another conversation I think that kind of should be had to some capacity.
Yeah, if you could go back, Mike, would you take Jackson Dart at 6?
At sixth overall, no, although he's starting to look like he would have been worth it. The conversation that I would kind of like to have, which is funny, is like, I think you asked me a week or two ago the same question, and I said no way.
Yeah.
Um, what they should have done was Armand Membu. I will stick by that for quite a while, most likely. Um, I think what would have been better would be maybe to trade up into the first round to get Jackson Dart. Uh, but then you're letting go of probably your second and third round pick or something to that capacity, or a second and next year's second and another fourth or something like that. Um,
Still probably worth it.
yeah, probably. But I mean, the thing with the second round picks was the Raiders traded back from the second like twice. So it wasn't like they just sat and got Jack Besh. Like they traded back a couple times to pick up multiple thirds to use for the backup offensive lineman right now. Like if they develop well, big if with this coaching staff. But if they do, that's huge because we need offensive linemen.
Yeah, and
Um,
you need a quarterback. And the only way to get it is you got to go out and get it. You got to either spend to get in position to
yeah,
when one's available, or
yeah. It
you just
if
gotta
Jack's
suck. You gotta suck for a year, which right now the Raiders are on trajectory to do it. But knowing the Raiders, they don't suck enough.
yeah, if Jackson Dart ends out being I mean, just really good, then yes, it's like, oh, no brainer. They should have traded up, obviously. And that's where I'm already leaning is like, yeah, they should have traded up basically the way that the Giants did, seemingly. Um, the conversation I really wanted to have about Jackson Dart was I was the one here saying, not saying you weren't or anything like that, but just before he was ever considered a potential second round pick. Like people were saying, no way Jackson Dart makes it past or makes it above the third round. He's not a second rounder. He's not a first rounder. So many quote unquote experts were saying Jackson Dart is not a first round pick. He's not even a second round pick. And I was sitting here week in and week out watching him going, dude, this guy is good. He probably just has a little bit of rawness to him that needs to get coached out, but he has all the tools. And now look at him. This dude's killing it for the Giants, paired with Scadaboo. And that's the most annoying part is like imagine an alternate reality where the Raiders pick the offensive lineman who's doing good with the Jets. They trade up and they pick, the quarterback of the future in Jackson Dart at what, 23rd overall or something. And then in the fourth round, let's say they give up their second, obviously, and like I said, future second and their fourth rounder. So maybe they stick in the third round, they trade back a little bit, and then they select Cam Scadaboo.
Yep.
Imagine that alternate reality, right? And that's all, hindsight 2020. Like I can't blame uh, John Spytek for not doing those things. It's mostly the Armand Membu thing. Like that just kind of kills me of like we all knew that they needed an offensive lineman. This team was never ready, to take on a running back of all positions. Like quarterback is one thing, but running back, like if we don't start winning in the next 2 years, like Gianti's prime is just wasted on this team, or at least the early segment of his prime. Uh, I just, I don't know. It's rough.
Real quick, Jackson Powers Johnson. I know who will fix him.
I mean, to me, Jim Harbaugh.
I was
like running power and just instilling confidence in all his players. Like Jim Harbaugh is kind of the guy.
I was thinking,
but that I don't think it'll happen. But anyways,
I was thinking something different.
Yeah, I mean, that's the unfortunate truth. Is I mean, he gets benched, and my whole point earlier of like that Chiefs game when it's 28-0, it doesn't matter anymore. I don't want Alex Kappa, a guy who's older than me. For reference, I'm 28 years old. I don't want a guy who is older than me. I'm at that point in my life. This is unfortunate. I don't want a guy who's older than me playing in a game that doesn't matter. Unless he's really fucking good, right? Unless he's Max Crosby or something. I want the young players out there earning experience. That's what we need at this point. Trade Jacoby Myers. Right now, I'll say it. We need to trade Jacoby Myers, get whatever they can get. I don't care about comp picks. They're going to be spending a fuckload of money next offseason anyways. Trade Jacoby Myers. There is no comp pick formula next year. Don't even mention that shit. Trade him for a 4th-round pick right now and get Jack Besh on the field. Get Dante Thornton on the field.
Why
So
wouldn't
on
you
and
want the
Trey
comp
Tucker.
pick?
Well, for one thing, it wouldn't be in next year's draft. It'd be in 2027, which
But
apparently
it's a
2027's.
third round pick.
I mean, that's not guaranteed. It depends on. I mean, he probably will earn a pretty respectable contract in the offseason. But the way that the comp pick formula works is, I mean, I'm not the one that asked this, but it works something like, okay, Jacoby Myers leaves our team via free agency. That's the key. You can't be cutting them. It can't be obviously trading them, but via free agency, he leaves the team along with, last year we lost Spillane, Merrig, a guy who is doing phenomenally for the Falcons in Divine Diablo. I don't know where the fuck that came from. I always liked him. I just had heard so many people saying, yeah, he's kind of dog shit. Just let him go. And I was like, I guess. I mean, I see the potential in him, but fuck. He's killing it. I guess with the right coach now. Go figure. I mean, I love Patrick Graham. That's not a shade at him. Just maybe he fits better with this coach or this scheme. Or he has a better surrounding talent. I don't know. Anyways, those players leave. They get big contracts. They get paid good money. That goes into the formula. So, like, Trevon Merrick is supposed to net a 4th-rounder, I think. Spillane might be, like, a 5th-rounder. Diablo and Nate Hobbs might both get, like, 6th-rounders each. Something like that. But if we sign... I mean, we signed Kuntz, who was already on our team. I don't think that counts. Who was our biggest free agent? Gino was a trade, so that doesn't count towards it. Let's just say Gino was a free agent, just for reference here. Gino would offset like 3 of those deals immediately. So we'd be getting like no 3rd-round pick or 4th-round pick, no 5th-round pick, or it goes from reverse. So then we get 0 6th-round picks and the 5th-round pick gone. Now we're just getting a 4th-round pick. Something like that, right? Like, it offsets based off of the contracts that you put out. And it's mostly based off of how big they are. Like, little budget deals, I don't think affect them. But once you get a deal that's, like, at or above a deal that's going to net you a comp pick, it offsets. So, next year, having, like, the 2nd most cap space in the league, I would have to imagine that we're going to sign somebody and offset a Jacoby Myers deal. That's what makes sense to me. I could be wrong because I don't fully understand the comp pick formula, but what I do understand is if we trade him, we can ensure that it's a 2026 pick, whereas the comp pick will go towards the 2027 draft, which is fine because we're supposed to be getting like 3 picks next year as comp picks from this past free agency. So I'm fine either way. It's just my biggest thing is I want Jack Besh on the field. I want him getting targets. That's my biggest thing. Speaking again of 2nd-round picks that are just not being used correctly.
I think, not to get away from the Raiders' perspective, but I think the Niners should be buying in on this potential Raider fire sale, or potential Dolphin fire sale, or Jet fire sale.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a potential, playoff team, you should be calling these teams for sure.
Niners should trade for Jackson Powers Johnson, and they could stick him at center. I would take that over Brendel. Also,
I had a. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna. No, you go ahead. You go ahead. I'll get to Pop in a second.
I had a Twitter interaction. I'm like fucking choking over here. I had a Twitter interaction where I quote tweeted Jay Jay Farrow, I believe is his name. He has a podcast actually. They're pretty damn good for the Raiders, and he was tweeting something along the lines of, "Oh, Kenny Pickett got in the game. We're not gonna go over this game. It was 31-0. That's all we have to say, right? I'm just talking about a few things in between. It's like 31-0, 28-0, something like that. And the coaching staff decides, let's pull Geno, let's pull Gianti, which was a good decision. Let's get the main starters out of here. Jacoby didn't play. Brock Bowers didn't play in this game. Let's get the starters that really matter out of this game. Colton Miller's injured. Kenny Pickett comes in, and I think most of us Raider fans are thinking, finally, let's see what we have here. Like, can he at least make half a drive work? Can he at least convert 1 third down, unlike Geno in this game? Actually, I'm sorry. I think Geno did convert 1 third down in this game, and that's it. Kenny Pickett's first snap is fumbled and recovered by the Chiefs. He didn't hand it off to the running back and fumble it. I'm talking he got the snap from the center and immediately dropped the ball, and the Chiefs got the ball. That was the Kenny Pickett experience. I believe the Chiefs went down, scored. Raiders got the ball. Did they? No, the Chiefs... Okay, the Chiefs went down, sorry. Chiefs went down, and then I had the Chiefs kicker, so I'm thinking they get to 4th down. I'm like, finally, a fucking field goal. And they go for it on 4th and 4, and like on the 10-yard line. I'm like, you fucking assholes. And they don't get it. So then the Raiders are pinned. They go 3 and out and punt. And then the Chiefs, with like 2.5 minutes left, the Raiders had 3 timeouts. The Chiefs started kneeling the ball. I've never seen it. And the Raiders didn't call timeout. Like, it was genuinely a mercy rule. Like, yeah, guys, let's just get out of here. Like, they both agreed, like, yeah, let's just get the fuck out of here. This sucks. Like, when the Chiefs feel bad for you and you're the Raiders, you know something's wrong. But
I think Andy Reid probably did it out of respect for Pete Carroll, honestly.
I think so. They even had a long conversation when they did the handshake, and it did not look, nasty at all. It looked genuinely like just 2 guys shaking hands and like talking,
Mm-hmm.
But it was a longer conversation than a usual, coaching handshake. But I had an interaction on Twitter.
Yes.
Where Jay Farrow tweeted, looks like Kenny, in quotations, like 2 small hands, quotations, Pickett, couldn't handle the snap. Something along those lines, right? And I quote tweeted it saying, somehow this Raiders staff will blame Jackson Powers Johnson. And for reference, Jackson Powers Johnson was already benched when this happened. It was a complete joke. And Jay Farrow liked it and even retweeted it, which I think caused me to get some action on the tweet. But my sense was a lot of Raider fans are seeing what I'm seeing, because a lot of Raider fans liked it and retweeted it. Maybe not retweeted it, but definitely liked it. And specifically the interaction that I'm talking about is somebody commented saying, the Raiders will trade Jackson Powers Johnson. Let me just fucking read it to you so I don't get it wrong. He says... Okay, sorry. So, Jay Farrow says, Kenny Smallhands Pickett fumbles his first snap in. Can't make this up, sorry. Somehow, this staff will blame Jackson Powers Johnson. Enzo comments, JPJ will get traded during the bye and go on to make multiple Pro Bowls. And I said, as a response, if they trade a young, talented offensive lineman mid-season while having offensive line issues, they are dumber than I thought. And the main point here is just don't get your hopes up for Jackson Powers Johnson. I don't think trading for Jackson Powers Johnson is a realistic idea for any team, because he's a goddamned second round pick from last year. If he was in his 5th year and next year, and this is a contract year, I would say yeah. And I'd probably even be saying, you know what, go for it. Let's get a third round pick or a fourth or something.
Mm-hmm.
But this dude needs to be on the field and developing. Plain and simply. Like, I don't care if it's center, left guard, right guard. I don't care. He needs to be developing.
Here, let me see if I can pull this up. Yeah, the tweet. That way we get like a visual of it.
Yeah. But you know, I just it's just annoying, to be quite honest. But I don't know. The idea of Jackson Powers Johnson getting traded just pisses me off. And if it does happen, which I don't think it will, but if it does happen, then you will see me completely turned against this regime like that. I Unless there is reporting that comes out that he has been a problem in the locker room, which I seriously doubt, because the dude literally hangs out with Max Crosby in the offseason. If 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 he's a problem, then Max Crosby's a problem, most likely. And at that point, I mean, if we're that bad, then trade Max Crosby too.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't see that. I think if he's hanging out with Max Crosby at the draft where they draft Gianti and it's literally Crosby and Jackson Powers Johnson like hyped and like they seem the most into the team than anybody else. Chip Kelly or I think it was Chip Kelly, unless it was Carroll, but it had to be Chip Kelly. A couple weeks ago was saying, Jackson Powers Johnson has a really big head right now. I'd love to know what the fuck
Pause.
he meant by that. Right. I'd love to know what he meant by that though. Are you suggesting that he's cocky? Is it because he was a really highly touted second round pick? Is it because he has the balls? This is all assumptions. Is it because he has the balls to actually stand up to the coaching staff and say I should be the center? And that's causing issues or rifts in the building? I'm sorry. I don't give a fuck. He's not wrong if that's what's happening. He should be the center. And you guys are too dumb to see it apparently. So if that's what's happening and that's causing issues with the coaching staff because play our way or the highway. Fuck that. I'm sorry, that's a joke, especially if this coaching staff isn't going to last into the offseason. At that point, you're just wasting Jackson Powers' time. He should be developing at center. That's what it should be. And we should be going into the offseason next year going, well, at least we have a starting center. But instead, we're going to be going into the offseason, God forbid we don't trade him. Or God forbid we do trade him. We're going to be going into the offseason this year going,
What do we
well, at
have?
least we have, at least we have a talented offensive lineman that has played at center and guard, but where is he supposed to play? I don't know anymore. I know Jackson Powers Johnson knows. I'll tell you what, they should let the center walk. Meredith, that would make decision way easier. They got the fourth round or third round guard. Like, they have some backup. I don't know. Just Parham sucked the first 2 weeks, and he's seemingly gotten a bit better since. But you have Colton Miller. I don't even know what to think about DJ Glaze anymore. Jackson Powers Johnson admittedly has a bad game against the Chiefs, but no shit, dude. He's going against Chris Jones.
That's another thing. I did mention that the Raiders had to play tough, and they did not. There was literally a play while I was watching the game. It was like an unsportsmanlike conduct or an unnecessary roughness. Do you know the play I'm talking about where the Raiders, I think, punted, and one of the gunners was going to he got pushed out of bounds by one chief, and then another chief just like while he was out of bounds just freaking smacked him and like pushed him further out of bounds.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, yeah, this is exactly what I was talking about. Where it's like it's one thing to lose to the Chiefs, but it's another thing when they're just freaking toying with you.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm pretty sure Tristan McCollum made another bonehead play in this game. I just don't remember. That might have been him, actually. I forget though.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that was the guy that hurt the Colts kicker a couple weeks ago. But yeah, I mean, there's obviously a lot of conversation to be had about the coaching staff and whatnot. I feel like I've kind of overblown my load. No pause on that. But yeah, I mean, we will eventually, very slowly, because of how terrible the season has been. Like time flies when you're having fun. Mentally, I'm still in week 2 right now with this fucking team. Um, I mean, it just they are so bad right now that they make me not want to go on this podcast. No offense, it's fully the Raiders. Why do I want to keep coming on here and saying, yeah, they suck, things need to change? Like, that's essentially what I'm saying every week.
It's
And
a little
also, I've been a
therapeutic right
miserable
now.
fad. Oh, it's for sure therapeutic, but I probably have conversations like this with my dad or whoever once a week already. Like, you know, do I really want to be having this conversations, or would I rather be in your predicament saying, "Wow, man, Kyle Shanahan. I mean, fuck.
And
I would much rather be doing that."
you know what though? Like, I do have to say, last year I had to. Well, I guess we both did because both our teams sucked last year. But um, I will say there is something nice about just free flowing topics as opposed like because we didn't really talk much about the specifics of this game, and I think like going forward with the Raider topics, unless the Raiders turn around the season somehow, it really feels like we're going to be talking a lot more about big picture and figuring out what should stay, and like you said, figuring out who exactly the fall guys should be. And right now they are Chip Kelly, the offensive line coach, and Geno Smith.
Yeah. Uh, yeah. Especially Chip Kelly and Geno Smith. Probably not necessarily in that order, but man, I mean, Chip Kelly, dude, that's just this game was so bad on his part. Um, I want to say this was the second time since I think somebody said at least the 80s that a team has gone 30 or less offensive snaps in a game. Um, like there are teams that have 11 snap drives, you know? I
Yeah.
feel like I've seen 14 play drives, right? Where 14 plays and then they score a touchdown, right? 95-yard drive. Holy shit. The Raiders had basically double that in an entire game. I want to say they only converted one third down. I could be wrong. They might not have gotten any. um, it was like every third down, either Gino was misfiring, getting sacked, or you know, or they get tackled short. And it was like by the time it was 21-0, it was like it was too late to start going for it on fourth downs. Like when it was third and short, they should have, or fourth and short, they should have just been going for it way earlier in the game if they knew how out of hand this game would have been. Um, they just had no life. They really look like a team that just has no life right now, and they know that they suck. They know that they have no hope this year. You know what it probably is, besides the play calling being absolute dog shit. I think this is a team that knows that their quarterback sucks absolute dick. Sorry, that's very verbal and actually kind of
Vivid.
vivid and actually politically incorrect for lack of a better term. And I'm sorry, just metaphorically, you know what I mean. He sucks. Gino sucks, and I think the team realizes it and realizes this dude isn't going to get us anywhere. And the entire team, especially Gino, is playing like it. They play like they have no hope. Gino, every time I mean, now it's on third downs, he's slamming the ball when he gets sacked. When he throws a pick, he's throwing his helmet. Like these guys know that they're cooked, and it's week fucking 7.
Well, it's week 8 now.
Yeah, they're going on to their bye. Thank God I don't have to watch them.
Yeah. Real quick, Papa J says he can see the Raiders trying to pick up Mac Jones. The Raiders need Mac. No, we need Mac. We
Yeah, you
need
guys
Mac.
need Mac, and also Mac Jones is on a 2-year deal, so this
Yeah.
this will not
He's
be his last year with the Niners.
he's not available, and I can almost guarantee the Niners are not trading him.
I'll tell you right now, though, the two guys that come to mind when I think of like who would have been better for the Raiders this year, it's Mac
Mac
Jones,
Jones.
and based off of what I saw
Sam
the
Darnold.
past 2 weeks, who?
Sam Darnold.
Oh yeah, Sam Darnold's the obvious one, but as far as like guys who are just under the radar, Mac Jones and Jacoby Brissett. Jacoby Brissett, although they haven't won with him with the Cardinals, he's at least like statistically doing better than Kyler. Like, I just think he's a serviceable guy. He probably would have still stunk it up with the Raiders, but that's a coaching thing. I don't know. That's probably also a coaching thing. Like, that's a Kyle Shanahan versus Chip Kelly issue, right? If you put Mac Jones in this team, I think I said this like a month ago. You put Mac Jones in this Raiders team, it probably doesn't fucking matter.
Yep.
If you put Mac Jones and Kyle Shanahan, yeah, then we probably get something done here. Do I think we're making the playoffs? I don't think so. I think we have a big talent issue here, right? It's going to take a couple years to get this thing in a consistent, uh, firing on all cylinders sort of mode. But until then, I think a good coach like a Kyle Shanahan, a Jim Harbaugh, can come in here and reignite this team and actually scheme some things correctly. Whereas Chip Kelly just thinks this is apparently UCLA versus fucking New Mexico. It's not going to work that way against the Chiefs, dude. 31-0.
Mm-hmm. Papa J says he was talking about next year. Like we said, he's still under contract, but he said he would take a first and a third for Mac Jones.
Oh, you know who's not going to accept that deal?
Mike.
Definitely Mike. Also, definitely the Raiders, and also probably every other team. Yeah. No offense. I get it. That's how valuable, arguably. I think that's a bit rich for in any case, but that's how valuable Mac Jones kind of is right now to the Niners. Like, if Purdy's going to be down half the year, you need Mac Jones to be able to win games for you, which he has done week in and week out now.
Rourke, the Maple Missile, will be our quarterback number 2 next year. I think they're keeping Mac Jones. I don't know. I feel like they know that they can win with Mac, right? And they kept Jimmy Garoppolo around for so long, even though they fucking hated him. Even though Shanahan hated coaching him, I have to assume, because they did everything to move on from Jimmy, but then they got Trey, and then they got so scared of Trey that they kept Jimmy. They kept him around because they could win with him. They're like, yeah, we want to get over the hump, so we're going to get the next guy. And then it's like, can we really win with this guy? Oh, why don't we just keep the guy that wins? Yeah, it's stupid. Mike, you mentioned the Raiders had less than 30 plays.
Yeah, they either had 29 or 30 offensive snaps in this game.
Do you know about the Bears' drive against the Cowboys when they played?
No.
The Bears had a 19-play, 76-yard drive against the Cowboys that took 9 minutes and 54 seconds.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Like, it was like, all right, I'm just going to pull up the ESPN app, and I'm going to go drive by drive, okay, for this Raider game. This will be my last thing. Actually, I have 2 things. I'll do this, and then we can quickly I can just do it on my phone.
And then really Jim Harbaugh, you said to bring it back up.
Oh, no, I went over it. Actually, yeah, good call. Yeah, you're right. Okay. Remind me again. Okay, so every scoring plays is just all Chiefs. It's great. All plays. Okay, so every drive, right? First quarter, Raiders, 5 plays, 16 yards, punt. Touchdown Chiefs. 5 plays, 11 yards, punt for the Raiders. I'm assuming this is how much time each drive takes. So 3 minutes and 16 seconds, 3 minutes and 1 second. Each 5 plays. Less than 16 yards. So I'm confused. Yeah, fuck it, whatever. I don't know. This is confusing. But 3 plays, 6 yards, punt. That's the third drive. 1 play, 6 yards, end of half. Third quarter, 3 plays, -3 yards, punt. Next drive, 4 plays, 7 yards, turnover on downs. Fourth quarter, 4 plays, 4 yards, punt. Next one, 1 play, fumble, -2 yards. That was Kenny Pickett. So Gino's already out of this game at this point. It's 31-0. Next Raiders drive, 3 plays, 9 yards, punt. And then the final drive, 1 play, 2 yards, end of regulation. I mean, if I really counted all this stuff up, it looks to me like they didn't have more than like 60 yards of offense. Geno Smith had 67 passing yards. Ashton Jeanty had 21 rushing yards. Our highest receiving yardage was Trey Tucker with 33. Wow, Landon Roberts had 18 tackles. Total yards, 95. 95 to 434 for the Chiefs. Wow. First downs. I mean, this is probably a major reason why. The Chiefs just dink and dunked our asses. The Raiders had 3 first downs. The Chiefs had 30. The Raiders had 30 offensive plays. The Chiefs had 30 first downs.
There's
on third down, on third down, the Raiders were 0 for 7. The Chiefs were 9 for 15. So I was right. They did not convert a single third down. On fourth down, the Raiders were 0 for 1. 0 red zone chips. You would think it'd be worse, but the Chiefs possessed the ball for 42 minutes. The Raiders for 18. You could have told me it was 50-10, and I would have said, yeah.
Took them 18 minutes to run less than 30 plays.
Yeah. So, I mean, just to do it again here, just to really turn my brain to mush. This goes in hand with the Harbaugh thing. Okay, kickoff, whatever. First play of the game for the Raiders offense. Ashton Jeanty, left guard, for 3 yards. Second down was a 10-yard pass. Geno Smith to Trey Tucker, so they did not get to a third down, but they got a first. Next play on first down, 3-yard pass by Geno to Runyon. Then an incompletion. Then a 10-yard penalty, which was on a pass attempt. Then a 10-yard pass from Geno to Michael Mayer. And then a punt. So they started the drive with 1 rush with Jeanty, and then it was all pass, and they end up punting. Next drive. Geno Smith fumbles, but they recover. Geno Smith, incomplete pass. He gets sacked on 3rd and 12. Oh, but there's a penalty on the Chiefs. 0-yard pass, 2-yard pass, 6-yard pass, punt. What's the problem?
Repeat it.
Based off of that drive.
That every play was 2 yards?
Every play was a pass.
No runs?
0 runs. You drafted Ashton Jeanty. If I didn't have company in this house right now, I'd be screaming at the top of my lungs. I just got the urge to just fucking scream. You draft Ashton Jeanty at 6th overall in this fucking draft, and your best idea against the Kansas City Chiefs is we're going to use our dog shit quarterback, play in and play out, and he's going to win the game. The Jim Harbaugh thing that I mentioned earlier that I told you to remind me of is that the Raiders have no fucking identity right now. When they should. Their identity should be, let's run Ashton Jeanty. Let's get this offensive line going. Let's run the ball. If we're going to win games, we got to own the time of possession, and we cannot turn over the ball. You know who turns over the fucking ball?
Geno
Smith. You know what happens when Geno Smith throws the ball against the Chiefs? Punt. 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 I'm sorry. I would have rather that they had run 30 plays with Ashton Jeanty, and every play went for 2 yards. I would have rather seen that than what we got in this game. Because what we got in this game instead was proof that Geno Smith sucks. And they're not going to win with him. Whereas at least if you try to run...
I told you that when they made the trade.
Yeah. Everybody was trying to convince me that he's good, and when you show highlights of a player... I was convinced, absolutely.
And then you even kind of convinced me that he was kind of good. I was like, you were sending me highlights, and I was like, hey, maybe Geno Smith isn't that bad. But every time I would watch him play, aside from the game that he played against the Niners, I was like, dude, he's just
Meh.
not that good.
Yeah, he always came off as meh. But the same thing goes for me with like Trevor Lawrence. Is like I don't watch Trevor Lawrence. So when suddenly Trevor Lawrence is traded to the Raiders, I'm going to be like, well, shit, I hope he's good. And then I'm going to see people posting like his best plays and, some of his struggles. Oh, and this interception, he probably could have done this better. That's what it was. It was like all these people like Mina Kimes and this guy and that guy saying, Geno Smith, man, I'm telling you, this dude is a film quarterback, like film school quarterback. He's so good on film, blah, blah, blah. Again, I don't know if this is a coaching problem. I don't know what the fuck, man. I don't know. But point of all that was, at least with Jim Harbaugh, I feel like he would commit to an identity, and also he would totally rile up the team and they would be ready to bat for him. I don't know if Pete Carroll being, what is he, 73? I don't know if that's a problem and like these players aren't invested as much as they should be in him. I don't know. I kind of doubt that. Am I starting to get worried of that? Kind of. I'm hoping that I'm right, that it's a quarterback and a play caller issue. And these players just know that those two guys, their play caller and their quarterback, are that bad. And they're just like, hope is lost. I've already booked my trip to Cancun for fucking January. I don't know.
Mm.
But they need to focus, they need to commit to what they already invested in, which is they're going to be a run first team. That's how you develop play action, and then you can actually make Geno look a little better, right? I don't know.
Yeah, I saw something. I think I sent you the tweet a couple weeks ago, or it was something. A Raider fan tweeted, "Man, I miss the Jimmy Garoppolo." At this point, I miss the Jimmy Garoppolo days, and somebody quote tweeted that. They said, "Man, Geno's so bad. They have this fan base. They have this fan base reminiscing on the Jimmy Garoppolo era." They're like, they say, "You're going to hell, Geno," or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, dude, it's not good. I don't know. I mean, people really had me so convinced on Geno this offseason that I might just be scarred now. I might just think like they could get Josh Allen, and I'd be like, yeah, he probably won't be that good.
Yeah. Josh Allen. But who's the offensive line coach, or who's playing
Yeah.
center?
Yeah.
Real quick, Papa J says, and we're almost ready to get out of here. He says, we're going to get picks and money for Mac next year. Mark my words. I can see that if Mac Jones holds out for a contract, extension, because, maybe he plays a lot this year and he feels like, all right, trade me or pay me.
How would they get money for Mac Jones? I'm confused. Like, wasn't his contract kind of like a very veteran base ish contract? Maybe
They're
like
not
no
going
more
to
than
get
10 years.
money. They're not going to get money, but because it's not like the NBA where you can just buy out the rights for a player. I think.
Right.
Um, and then Papa J says,
Picks I can see though.
yeah, Pete Carroll didn't inherit a great team, so we got to give him a break. I think Mike is willing to give him a break, and he's looking for scapegoats. And
Yeah,
Geno
I'm all
Smith
here
has always
for.
sucked.
Yeah, I'm perfectly fine with giving Carroll a break because of how bad this team is and talentless it seemingly is. Um, because that's been their problem is a lack of consistency and what's that big word I was using?
Continuity.
Continuity. Every 2 years you fire a head coach and GM and you have to restart all over again and suddenly you have to trade Laramie Tunzel, essentially, right? I'm tired of that. I don't want to be trading Jackson Powers Johnson this offseason. Like, just They got to figure it out. They got to get players in. They got to develop them. I think a key for this team is they have to get good coaches in this building. And I just can't help but think that Pete Carroll is a good coach. Um, but his son, Chip Kelly, not so sure about. And I think now that I feel like we're getting closer and closer to a very obvious need and potentially. Oh, that was the other topic. Sorry, really quick. I don't see a game on this schedule that they're going to win again. I really think they're going to end out 2-15.
Let me just pull it up real quick.
Yeah. Well, let's
Also,
talk
is
about it.
Max Crosby, is he injured? Something happened during the game where
It sounded like it was precautionary. I think Ian Rappaport or Schefter came out and said like, yeah, it was just precautionary. They were just making sure. But I guess he already had like a knee, maybe bone bruise or something going on. And then he got bumped, and they were just taking precautions with him because I mean, last year he had knee issues, I think so,
yeah. All
or
right,
unless it was an
so
ankle. But
we both picked the Chiefs to win, and we were right about that. Funny enough, we're kind of the opposites, or at least I'm the opposite. I've only gotten one Raider pick wrong, and I've only gotten one Niner pick right. But so their next game after the bye week is Jaguars, loss.
yeah,
Broncos, loss.
easy.
Although that Broncos game could just be one of those games where the Raiders just decide to win.
I mean, that's what I texted you was I don't see them winning a game on the schedule, but chances are, with my luck, they'll still squeeze out 2 to 3 wins, and they'll completely fuck themselves out of a really good quarterback.
Yeah, Cowboys, loss.
Loss. They'll get killed by the Cowboys.
Browns is a winnable game.
Yeah,
they're
but
probably
the
gonna
Browns
lose.
defense is solid, and if yeah, if their quarterback just figures it out, I think they have the talent to beat us. Judkins will run all over us.
Chargers, loss. Broncos at home, winnable game,
Loss.
but
I think I
loss.
mean the Broncos and Chiefs are 4-3. The Chargers are 5-2. If I'm not mistaken. Oh no, the Broncos are 5-2, and I think it's Chargers and Chiefs. Either way, all three of the teams in the division are winning teams right now. We're
Yes,
not
but
beating any of them.
it's not. It's not about record. It's about matchups.
Yeah, and I think we would do better off against the Chargers right now than the Broncos.
Eagles, loss.
Yeah.
Texans, that's a winnable game, dude.
I think the Texans might be the most winnable game.
Giants, it's winnable, but
That's a
loss.
loss. That's a loss.
Yeah. Well, at least with Jackson Dart. Chiefs, loss.
Chiefs might be winnable if they have the division secured, but hopefully they don't, and we lose and we earn the first overall pick.
Does
But you
Max
got the Jets who
Crosby?
still haven't won a game, so
Does
I
Max,
don't know.
no, you guys don't play the Jets. Oh,
No,
you're
I'm
saying to get
saying
the
in
first pick.
general. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think the Jets might have already locked it up.
It's too early. I mean, if whatever their quarterback's backup quarterback name is does better, they could possibly beat the Dolphins.
Who is their
Um,
backup? Is it Tyrod Taylor?
yes. Yeah.
Wow. Um, yeah. Jets will not win a game this season, says Papa J. And then also, I didn't get to the Brendel comments, but Papa J says Brendel was actually kicking ass last night. I think both centers were. Yeah, I know Brendel went down with the injury. I don't exactly know when because I was listening to it on the radio, and then I got to start to watch it as I got to Pia's house because I went to church yesterday. But with Brendel, we were averaging 7 yards per rush. With Hennessy, we were averaging 6 yards per rush. That could just be a Falcons thing if they were both doing well. So maybe they both aren't that good, or maybe they both are better than I give them credit for, right? So I don't know. One thing I do know is we still have to make our pick, Mike, for who's going to win next week, the Raiders or the bye week?
Um, uh, the bye week, I'd say. Yeah.
Yeah, obviously that's a joke. Yeah, that's the show pretty much. We went for a good solid hour and a half. It was a great show, in my opinion.
Yeah. Got some therapy in. I will say one last thing. Um, I'm the one doing all the holding us up, obviously.
No,
But
I'm fine. I know you got work in the morning.
yeah, I still gotta finish laundry and shit. But something happened yesterday or maybe Friday, or yesterday was Sunday, so maybe it was Saturday. I don't know. But Doug Martin passed away, former
Mm.
Raiders running back, Buccaneers running back, and something about the reporting of it really fucking bugged me because just my gut told me from the get go, like, I mean, for one thing, just the natural reaction is why the fuck is a 35, 36 year old perfectly healthy human being passing away, right? Um, because that was the initial terminology. It was just breaking news. Doug Martin has passed away, and I was like, "There's no fucking way this dude passed away." Like, I understand passing away means dies or died, but like
Passing away is like
something happened to him.
natural. Passing
That's
away
what
is
I
like
always take.
natural.
Yes, that's how I always take that when maybe it's just because usually it's on Twitter of like what was Diane Keaton has passed away. It's like, okay, she was I think 82, something like that. Like that makes sense. May they both rest in
I
peace.
think she was 72 or something. 70
Wow,
something.
I mean, if that's the case, then damn. But regardless, obviously, rest in peace to both of them. But I was already bugged just the fact that he passed away. I know he's a Oakland.
79.
He's born 79. Okay, born in Oakland. Doug Martin grew up in Stockton. Bay Area guy. His breakout game against the Raiders for the Buccaneers was a big deal, and just he was a fantasy football legend. All these things. He ended his career with the Raiders. Um, so I was just very curious for more info. Naturally, as I think most people probably would be for somebody that they've known of in their life. You just get this bomb dropped. 35-year-old passing away. Then the next day, the reporting, and this is where I got really annoyed, was that he was he passed away while in custody after seemingly being put in custody for burglary. Something to that effect, right? Basically, the gist of what was reported was he was involved in a burglary, but the way that it was worded was like he was the burglar, if you will. And he passed away while in custody with the police. And then the other aspect of that reporting was that police officer, or maybe a few, were put on paid leave, which that right there set off
Red
all the
flag.
red flags.
Yep.
Red fucking flag. Um, but the other aspect that my mind goes to, and this is maybe I shouldn't really mentally go to this, but like, why would an ex NFL player be burglarizing any home, right? Home invasion essentially is what it seemed to be. Why, right? Because I've never gotten the gist, idea, whatever you want to call it, that Doug Martin was, for lack of a better term, that kind of person. I've always taken him as like, oh, he's a super cool dude. Um, so just the fact the reporting was that he was involved or potentially the reporting seemed like he was burglarizing a home. He
Yeah.
broke into a home. When that's all that's reported, whether that's like out of respect or maybe it's because that's all that the police gave to the reporters at the time, that's so fucking frustrating because I think a lot of people, dumbass people, no disrespect, read that and go, "Oh, You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
there
Fuck
they
around,
go.
find
Like
out.
yeah, like just super negligent thoughts of
Yeah.
just reading shit on surface level and saying, "Oh, doesn't surprise me,"
Yeah.
because of how their mind works. Whereas my mind was like, "There's no fucking way. There's no fucking way." Um, and then finally, his family through his agency put out um, put out a statement, and I'll read it. Fuck it. From Athletes First. For immediate release, Athletes First and CEO Brian Murphy issue statement on behalf of Doug Martin's family. Newport Beach, California, October 20th, 2025. Athletes First and CEO Brian Murphy had the privilege of representing Doug Martin when he was selected by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the first round 2012 draft. Stellar career at Boise State, distinguished NFL career, Pro Bowls, All Pro in 2015, celebrated by countless fans. Off the field, Doug was deeply committed to serving the communities of Boise, Idaho, Stockton, and Oakland, California, where his generosity and spirit were well known. Privately, this was the key, and, well, this is the key. Privately, Doug battled mental health challenges that profoundly impacted his personal and professional life. Ultimately, mental illness proved to be the one opponent from which Doug could not run. Following recent media reports about Doug's untimely passing, the family wishes to clarify the circumstances. Doug's parents were actively seeking medical assistance for him and had contacted local authorities for support. Feeling overwhelmed and disoriented, Doug fled his home during the night and entered a neighbor's residence 2 doors down, where he was taken into custody by police. An investigation into what transpired as he was detained is underway. The family requests privacy as they navigate this heartbreaking loss. Now, what the fuck do we think that means, right? All I'm saying is rest in peace to Doug Martin. This is incredibly sad. And I don't know. I just think there's something to be learned there about, reading things on surface level when they're reported and not all the information is put out, because I just the picture that I had in my mind was people seeing that tweet, breaking news, Doug Martin passes away while being in police custody because of a burglarized home. So many people see that and think the worst of the worst about Doug Martin, and it's
Yeah.
like you don't know. I don't know, just that bugged the fuck out of me, dude. So I'm glad that
That
they put that statement out, even though it's unfortunate they have to do that. Just
well, they do that because they want to be first. They want to get all the clicks.
well, I mean, it's unfortunate the family had to put out a statement,
Yeah.
just to clarify things in sort of in his name. Like they probably realized too, like what they probably saw the reporting and were like, God, that sounds terrible.
Yeah.
That sounds terrible. And I mean,
Yeah.
look at,
They didn't
not
want
to
him to be remembered that way because that wasn't the truth. And then also
exactly
there should have been follow-up investigations by the reporters that put out the report. Like,
right.
you know, try to get more information instead of, oh, there was a burglary and he passed away in police custody.
Yeah, I mean, maybe at the end of some of those initial reports was like, pending more information, or this is an ongoing story or something like that, just to kind of keep it open. But still, I don't know. I think the light that was painted seemed negative just from what you probably initially picture. So
Yeah.
I don't know,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, rest in
but
peace, Doug
that's
Martin.
yeah, and that
I remember that game where he had 3 touchdowns against the Raiders.
like 250 yards.
I remember, yeah, I was literally, God, I was in middle school, maybe.
Mm,
Might have been in middle
probably
school.
2012, I think.
Yeah, I was in middle school. I was in my mom's room, and the game was on my mom's TV in her bedroom.
Hmm. And you're like, wow, these Raiders, they have sucked for over 10 years now. they'll
Yeah.
probably get it. They'll probably turn it around soon. Here
Yeah.
we are over 10 years later.
Yeah, but
Anyways,
you know, fucking time time moves on, but the Raiders
yeah,
are constant.
yeah. I don't know. I'll say this also just reminds me of like well, for one thing, mental health is just a hell of a thing, man. But like this reminds me of
Chandler Jones.
Chandler Jones.
Me
Yeah, and
too.
just who knows, because there's so many different things that somebody could be dealing with when it comes to mental health. But
Yep.
you know, Chandler Jones was, I mean, he was sort of televising himself in moments. Like that whole thing was insane to kind of see unfold. And
Yeah.
obviously, on the bright side for him, he's alive. But you know,
Yeah.
the
Hopefully
NFL.
he's
The point
well.
being is just, yeah, it just point being the NFL needs to. I don't know if they need to step it up or what when it comes to helping ex players with that, right? Because obviously CTE and concussions has always been a big fucking deal.
They
Like
can't.
if there's they can't help.
No, because then they're admitting that there's a correlation between concussions and football. Have you seen League of Denial or the movie Concussion?
I saw Concussion, which was an eye-opening movie for sure. I haven't watched it in a long time, but I mean, my thought would be less of like admitting like, oh yeah, we are the reason for your health problems, and more of just like having post NFL health. I don't know whether it's hotlines or what, like something through the NFL that ex players can utilize. You know, because I know they have like certain retirement sort of things. Uh, that was very vague, but I feel like they can do it. They could do something to that effect. I don't know.
Yeah, the NFL always tries to make it seem like they're doing a lot,
Right.
for concussions and whatnot, but I don't know. They always want to put out that image that, you know, they're that football's safe and they're doing everything that they can with science and everything with these brand new helmets, with these Guardian caps, which I still don't fully believe that the Guardian caps really do anything because it's like if you're smacking someone, the Guardian caps do not stop your brain from moving inside your head, which is why it happens. Pretend pretend your brain is inside this, right? Or all right, pretend this is a helmet, right?
Yeah.
And then the helmet smacks against this, and the fluid inside the brain, has the brain smacks the inside of the skull, right? And obviously, this is also the helmet. Slap on the Guardian cap, right? The water still, it still moves, even though this softened the impact on my hand. And clearly, if I had another, you know, thermo flask and smack, and it would soften the impact. You can't stop the brain from moving inside the skull. It's
Hmm.
biologically you can't do it. So I don't know. Humans were not made to play football, but I swear humans were fucking made to consume football because I love football. So, yeah, consider me a hypocrite, but I loved playing when I played, and I just can't get enough of it. Well, I can.
Damn right.
Sometimes it makes me sick, but yeah. But yeah, the whole Chandler Jones thing, Mike, that was so wild because like I would have never expected in my life that I would have seen Chandler Jones naked, but I did. He was like,
I don't remember that part.
okay, he did
Yeah.
he did a video one time. He was like doing a tour of his house, and he was butt naked filming the video, and he crossed by a mirror in the bathroom.
Yeah. I vaguely remember something to that effect. I don't think I watched that one. Probably
Like
because I was warned.
I'm not like trying to poke fun at his mental
No.
health situation. I just it's like the shock factor of like I never would have thought that in my life that would have happened, or it was just shocking. But yeah, that's the episode. Papa J says, "True, Josh." I think talking about the helmet thing, and humans were meant to consume football, but not play. But I will never want to see AI play football. Fuck that. Speaking of which, yeah, I'll probably play some Madden before bed.
Nice.
So I'm gonna see some AI play football against me. So yeah.
I'm gonna finish out this pod by making you feel pretty sad. I'm sorry. So obviously Lorenzo,
I would have beat like everybody besides you and Lorenzo.
You would have beat 7 out of the other 9 players. But most specifically, Tyler's projected like over 130. You were projected like probably what you got, around what you got. You guys ended out being less than 0.2 points off, or right? Maybe just over 2.2 points. You had 126.32. He had 126.08. Like if you had faced him, you would be gleaming with happiness right now.
No,
you'd be like, I cannot fucking believe I beat him by 0.3.
I would have been like, man, that was close.
Yeah. You would probably not be able to focus on this pod right now if that Seahawks game was going on.
Oh.
Because he has Ken Walker. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, the Seahawks won 27-19. Yeah. But that right there is the worst feeling when you have like the second most points in the league and you lose. That shit sucks.
No, the worst feeling, Mike, is when you're in between starting a couple players and you start the wrong one, and that's why you lose. That's the worst feeling.
That was me against Enrique a couple weeks ago. I would have won if I just started Ted over Jacoby Myers.
But the even worse feeling is when you get talked into something, when your gut was telling you to do something.
Yeah.
And then you don't trust your gut. Because it's one thing, I can stomach when I was wrong. I just can't stomach like, oh man, like every single time. And maybe I just have like such a huge ego for this. But every time somebody tells me, oh yeah, you got to do this. And then I get convinced and then they were wrong. I go, man, I can't listen to anybody else but myself. I don't trust anybody. Yeah. I'm like, I know better than everyone.
Most of the time. That Jacoby Myers and Tet thing that I did, or switch out, I woke up Sunday morning with Tet in my lineup, and then I was in the bathroom looking at my phone, and I was like, yeah, but Jacoby Myers' matchup is so much more obvious, and now it's official Brock Bowers is out. So I switched him. And then, of course, I felt like an idiot afterwards, but because I was relying on Geno Smith, essentially. That's how I felt. I'd be 5-2 right now. I'd be tied with you.
Dude, where would I be at if I just picked up Quinshon Judkins? Why? I would have won this week.
Dude, if I just beat Enrique, you, Joey, and I would be in a 3-way tie at 5-2. I'd probably be the 2 seed right now. Instead, I'm probably still the 4 seed.
Yeah. So, like,
I'd be the 2 seed going into a matchup with Lorenzo, who's the 1 seed. I'd be, God.
The entire, like, last hour and 20 minutes of our pod has just been depressing. Like, literally, we finished up on such a high note on the Niners, and then we went to the Raiders, and immediately, like, it just started to snowball into, like, all right, the Raiders was bad enough. Doug Martin was much worse. And then, like, it didn't get worse after the Doug Martin thing. Like, obviously, fantasy football is, like, secondary to, like, human life. But we never picked it back up. So, I'm so sorry. Papa J, I think that you're still watching. I want to give a shout out to Papa J, Benji did come in and comment, but it's weird because his comment didn't pop up on the chat itself, but it popped up on the live chat. So maybe he deleted it or something, but it stayed there. And I want to give a shout out to 49er Media. Yeah, it was a great week for 49er football. It was a horrible week for Raider football. It was a good week for fantasy football for me. I just got absolutely shellacked by the highest scoring player. Like I had a pretty good week, all things considered. What?
Who was playing Tyler next week?
Why?
Week 8. Oh, Enrique is. Tyler has Jonathan Taylor. The Colts are playing the Titans. May God help Enrique.
Oh, man.
Oh, my God.
Papa J says, thanks, Josh and Mike. God bless everybody. Thank you. No, thank you so much for tuning into the show. That's all we got. I think I'm going to end it here. Mike, you got anything to say before we get out of here?
I got nothing. That was a good pod. I got some emotion out. That
was a really good pod, I think.
It was a great pod. For as negative as it may have been for the Raiders, just they need to find their identity. And that includes, like you said, they need to figure out who's staying. And also, in finding your identity, as far as, like, let's just say, it needs to be rushing the ball 20 times a game. Let's just say. It also needs to be who isn't a part of this identity. If it's Jacoby Myers, trade him. If it's Chip Kelly, fire him. If it's Brennan Carroll, demote him. Something.
I got one more thing before we get out of here. Hold on. I'm gonna send it to the podcast channel, and okay. I'm gonna play it because this is great. I sent it to. Oh, maybe I sent it to you earlier, but I definitely sent it to Pia's dad. It was Pete Carroll. Let me just make sure that the window captures audio. Okay, there we go. Capture audio. Okay. All right. Let me know if you can hear this. Oh, can you see it? Hold on. There we go.
Yes, I can see it.
Okay. Did you see this earlier?
I think you sent it to me. I did not get to watch it.
Okay, this is from not the fake DNP on Twitter, DNP Sports. Pete Carroll throws Geno Smith under the bus after losing to the Chiefs.
I smoke a lot of weed. Sometimes I smoke a lot and then eat a whole bag of hot Cheetos. And sometimes I sign.
Or at least I can't. Maybe the audience can.
Okay. Let me see.
If you can, well, I guess you obviously can if it's on your screen.
Geno Smith.
Oh, the audience can hear it.
Okay. Yeah, if they can hear it, then good.
Okay. I'm trying to think of how you can hear it.
I can just play it at the same time.
Okay.
You send it to me on Twitter?
Yeah. Let me know.
Okay.
Let me know when you're ready.
Okay. I'll turn it down so it's actually I'll mute my mic right now.
All right.
And I'll react after.
Okay.
All right. All right. 3, 2, 1.
I smoke a lot of weed. Sometimes I smoke a lot and then eat a whole bag of hot Cheetos. And sometimes I sign Geno Smith to a $75 million contract. Geno's the Michael Jordan of RG3s. He makes Mark Sanchez drunk ass look like a first ballot Hall of Famer. I came to the Raiders to chew gum like an alpaca and win 3 games a year. And I'm fresh out of gum. Have you seen Mark Davis's haircut? He looks like a lesbian that breeds bulldogs. Me and Travis Kelce have a lot in common. We're both past our prime and nobody wants us around anymore. Getting beat 31-0 is torture. It's almost as bad as listening to a Taylor Swift album. You just can't wait till it's over. I saw the Raiders were hiring shitty coaches, so I knew I could coach here. Just a dog shit franchise. They were so lost, Geno Smith was calling Derek Carr, asking for advice last night. I smoke a lot of weed.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Clearly, that's AI. Okay, which is why I didn't think I would get in trouble for putting it because it's AI content or whatever. But I just I think my favorite part was he goes, "Yeah, I heard the Raiders were hiring dog shit coaches, so I knew that I could
I knew
coach
I
here."
could coach here. The one that got me was Geno Smith is the Michael Jordan of RG3s.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Oh shit. That was pretty good. See, that was
good.
that was the way to end the pod. Properly end the pod.
Yeah, it was good.
On a good note. So hope everybody has the Michael Jordan of RG3s of a night.
I think he's like the Michael Jordan of. Geno Smith is the Michael Jordan of.
Okay, if
who's
we were
the
giving a
ex-backup?
realistic he's the Michael Jordan of Aiden O'Connell's.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like who had like a career resurgence where like they were drafted highly, went down because they were a backup for a long time, and then came back as a starter.
Came
Like-
back as a starter?
Yeah, like arguably, this is kind of a weird one, and he's not the Michael Jordan of this guy because this guy actually won Super Bowls, and I don't think Geno did. But Jim
Kurt
Plunkett,
Warner? Oh.
Kurt Warner, yeah, Kurt Warner's a good one. Although he was like undrafted. Like Jim Plunkett was the first overall pick, I think, and then sucked with the Patriots, sucked with the Niners, and then finally comes to the Raiders, and statistically was still not that good, but won 2 Super Bowls.
Geno Smith is the Michael Jordan of Ian Books.
Yeah,
Or
there you go.
yeah, or Nathan Peterman's.
Oh, Nathan Peterman's a good one. Yes. We have it. He's the Michael Jordan Nathan Peterman's for sure.
All right, and there
Oh
you
my
guys have
God.
it. That's the episode. So, I think we finished strong.
Yeah.
It was a roller coaster. Bam, depressing, and then funny, and then now we're out of here.